Judge Kigen, there are concerns expressed by a section of Kenyans.
Yes.
As regards your suitability for the position of a Supreme Court judge.
Yes.
And these concerns were made known to us as a Judicial Service Commission via a letter dated 8th of April 2026, which we have since brought it to your attention. Did you get that letter?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm hearing it for the first time. But I suspect I know what it could say. Probably just say it.
Okay. Let me just bring to your attention what the section of Kenyans are saying. They're expressing their misgivings about your candidature. Firstly, they are concerned over the fact that you've been a lawyer for His Excellency President William Ruto, and who is likely to be a candidate in the elections of 2027. The fear that these Kenyans have is that in the event that you are successful and you join the 6 judges in the Supreme Court, and then thereafter there is a petition challenging presidential elections for the year 2027, their fear is that you are likely not to be impartial. What do you have to say to this?
Okay, so first of all, it is true I have represented him. May I say that I intend to be as objective and neutral in my discharge of my functions as a judge. And so the fear is well, I can't say it is ill-informed. I can understand the concerns, but I just want to give the assurance that I would be fair and I would only deal with facts and the law. I would also like to say 2 other things, commissioners. The first one is I am aware that concern has been, and that's why I was saying I have suspicions that of what the letter is, and I must complain that you didn't share the letter with me so that I would have a more structured answer to the question. But let me just answer to this effect. That I have looked at the totality of judges, right from the High Court, Court of Appeal to Supreme Court. Looking at the totality of them, you would almost say about 50% of them were lawyers. And so for me to be told that you have a disadvantage because you represented a particular individual would be a borderline case of discrimination, because I would be being treated differently just because of the type of the client I represented, when in fact every other person who escalated to the status of a judge who was an advocate is not being subjected to the same disadvantage. And so, commissioners, with a lot of humility, I would pray that first of all, you look at me for what I stand for, integrity, fairness, and justice, and that I will apply the law fairly and objectively. But secondly, that to distinguish me just because of one client, a criteria that has not been applied to other candidates who apply to be judges, would probably not be quite fair. And lastly is that there are measures, if anybody is concerned about my sitting in the bench and as justifiable cause, there are provisions for how that can be handled, including recusal, and I'm aware that some presidential petitions have been done with less than the totality of the 7 Supreme Court judges. And the Supreme Court's workload is not focused or limited to only presidential petition. There are other work assignments that the Supreme Court has. And so if it were to be such a significant and weighty concern, I would say there is that option also for recusal. For all those reasons, commissioners, I pray that that should not be used to my disadvantage in this interview. I am glad to answer any specific issues that arise around that issue.
All right. I think we hear what you are saying.
Yes.
But you know, when it comes to the dispensation of justice, it is not important. It's not only important for justice to be done, but justice must also be seen to be done. And given the fact of the office in question, the stakes are extremely very high. And when you tell us, for instance, that there is that possibility that you can recuse yourself, and given that the number is only 7, and you know there are many things that happen in life, people fall sick, etc., etc. So if now we are saying we are going to take you, and then you've given us that undertaking that in the event that there is an objection to your hearing an election petition, presidential election petition, there is that possibility that you can recuse yourself. So what does that mean? That then, do we really even need to hire a 7th judge for the court? If we have the option of a recusal, right from the word go.
Can I proceed?
Pardon?
I can answer now.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, recusal is probably the bottom in the list, my lady. I would insist that I should be taken for what I say and what I have represented, being objective. My relationship with His Excellency is not such that I always said yes to everything he wanted or he wished for. And so it has never taken my objectivity away. But I understand your question to be more of the perception of third parties. So again, I want to say that the front line is to say that I should be taken for what I represent, that I intend to be objective and fair, and that issue of recusal should be the last option. And even as I'm being put to task to answer that, I also want to insist that please take on board also the unfairness of the question and the unfairness of the concern just because of the person that I represented, a criteria that is not applied to other candidates.
All right. We just thought that it was important to bring to your attention what a section of the Kenyans are saying about your candidature.
I understand.
And you've given us your responses.
Yes.
The other concern, of course, was the fact that you've hardly been in the Court of Appeal, but I think you've discussed that in response to what the Chief Justice asked you.